Tony Schiavone, wrestling's dad, has taken on more responsibility backstage in AEW. This came out as a press release a couple weeks ago that Tony Schiavone, along with a few others, got promotions within the business or within the backstage of AEW. This was when Madison Rayne was brought in as a coach for the women as well. Sanjay Dutt got a little bit of a push ski. Pat Buck got a promotion. A couple others that I'm missing off the top. QT got a promotion, I believe. And all of these people were promoted to roles to essentially assist Tony Khan with a lot of the backstage shit that seems to be causing the problems that we keep hearing about in AEW. We touched on this last week, and some of these problems that are starting to leak out, some of the cracks that are starting to show in the foundation of AEW. And, it's going to happen. It's a new company. They're not, we tend to want to look at them like WWE and compare them to WWE because obviously, they're both massive touring arena show wrestling with main event stars on national TV, but they also are not a company that's been around for 60, 70 years. So it's bound to happen. And check out this clip here with Tony Schiavone talking about, going into more depth about why he got his role backstage and some of the things that he'll be doing, and we'll catch you on the flip side.
Well, we want to talk a few minutes about what is going on behind the scenes here in AEW because I'm very honored to have been promoted by Tony Khan.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. It's a crew of us that have been promoted. It's QT Marshall, Sanjay Dutt, Pat Buck, and myself. Have been promoted within the confines of what's going on, and it's a very important thing on many levels. I think, number one, you have to realize, and I think a lot of times people don't realize this, that we're still a very young company. Mm-hmm. We're finding our way. Tony Khan has been so successful, as we know, with his ventures into Fulham and sports analytics, and of course with the Jacksonville Jaguars. But running a wrestling company is basically new to him.
Very, very new. And I mean, if we look at competitors, which, don't necessarily want to bring up, but they've got like a 40-year head start on us.
And one of the things that I'm involved with now, and I like it, I really do. I find it very stressful at times, and that is working in talent relations. Mm-hmm. Because I really think that is important to any type of business, is to be able to treat your athletes with respect and with their concerns and try to intervene when there is a problem. And as we know, in any sports team, there's problems. I'm not in this for the ego, but I do think that I can say this about myself, that I know how to treat people. And I think that's one of the reasons that I was put in this position.
So at first, when I had heard that Tony Schiavone was going to be taking on more of a talent relations role, that scared me a little bit because it's traditionally thought of as a thankless job and the job where that kind of gets all the heat from the boys, right? Because these are the people that are going to be fining you and firing you and passing down just bad news and a lot of the heat gets dumped on top of the talent relations guys. And Tony's such a well-liked guy. He's got such a good relationship with everybody, it seems like anyway, that I'd really hate to see Tony Schiavone start to be the guy that people start to hate or oh no, there's Schiavone. You got to walk the other way down the hall or watch what you're saying around Schiavone. He's a stooge, I don't want that. But it seems like he sought this out for himself. I think he was kind of, the way that he was talking on the podcast here, I think he was kind of jockeying for that open EVP spot that Cody Rhodes left open. Because the way he said that he pitched it is he talked to Tony and he wanted to, he's like, hey, I got a good relationship with Cody, with Kenny and the Bucks. And I know that they're EVPs and they're also wrestlers, and I'd like to work more closely with them and help out in any way I can. That's how he pitched it to Tony, which is AKA, hey, I want to be an EVP too. Clearly, there's an open spot, and I want to work closely with the EVPs. Duh. Which wouldn't be a bad gig. I'm not even knocking that. I would respect Tony Schiavone in that role. But he sought this out. He thought that he had something to give to it, being that he has that good relationship with everybody. I hope that doesn't change now that he's not the talent relations guy either. I don't know that he's going to be the guy like firing people or passing along the bad news or anything. He's just kind of a liaison position. I think maybe he's there to kind of smooth things out or talk with people and get a better feel for where people are at with things, or just kind of be an intermediary to help explain things, pass things along. He's often like a go-to guy that's like, or a gopher guy, I should say, hey, can you go tell this guy that? Can you do this? Blah, 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 blah. Apparently Tony's been doing this kind of stuff for a while. He's a huge part of that backstage. So now this is just kind of making it official. But Schiavone said that Tony Khan called a meeting, and this was really shortly after the internet was abuzz about, the cracks in the foundation of AEW, people getting frustrated backstage, unhappiness backstage, and people getting released saying that they don't really get talked to or communicated with. These are all problems, and this kind of leaked out with the Jonathan Gresham thing. He was like the third person to say that he doesn't get the proper communication from Tony Khan. So again, it's a new company. These kind of things are bound to happen, but it's just, you don't want to hear, we've always heard for the first couple of years that, it's all friends wrestling. It's the happiest place on earth. And now you're hearing all these people are getting crabby. Hopefully Tony Schiavone, like I was saying, Tony Khan called a meeting and he invited all these people that he gave the promotions to and basically said, here are where I need help. Here are the holes that I need filling in this game of running a wrestling promotion. And here's how I think you guys can help me. And they all basically accepted. So that's where we're at. I do expect to see that make a difference. I think that, if Tony was smart enough to see where he was lacking and doesn't, because sometimes people can just have an ego about it. I can handle everything. If you don't like the way I do it, fuck you. If he was competent enough to listen and to hear the complaints and be seeing his weaknesses as a boss, as a promoter, as running a wrestling company of that size, and he's able to find those holes in his game and he's able to fill them with these players, then, more power to him. That's just smart business. And it's going to happen in a new company. It's brand new. You cannot expect them to be as well-oiled of a machine as WWE 3 years into their company. And this is how you fix that, is while the machine's running, you can see that this part needs an extra screw or an extra bolt, or we got to, maybe add this piece on or something. Like, as you go, you're going to see where you can tighten up your game. And as long as you're self-aware enough and you can set your ego aside and eat a shit sandwich once in a while, as Vince likes to say, and recognize that, hey, this is what I can do to make this company better, and I'm going to bring these guys in to help me out, fuck, that's great. If they're able to, and I hope that they can, I think this will be a good little boost for morale backstage in AEW. But we keep hearing about it, and, I'm not convinced that some of it's not a work, but some of it is absolutely reality-based. And it's going to be interesting to see how things play out going forward, what we keep hearing behind the scenes. But I think with these people in place, and especially Tony Schiavone, wrestling's dad, I think AEW's in a better position to move forward. Hey, thanks for checking out that clip. Don't forget to check out other clips here on the channel. And while you're there, throw a like, throw a subscribe. And don't forget to check out full episodes each and every Sunday of the Pro Wrestling Podcast.